You will see. I guess here we are. Hi everyone. Boa noite. Já comecei confusa já para deixar todo mundo confuso. Boa noite, gente. Meu nome é Beatriz. Talvez alguns aqui já me conheçam. Eu trabalho aqui na Fundação Estudar. A Fundação Estudar é uma organização não governamental do terceiro setor aqui do Brasil. A gente oferece algumas bolsas para quem quer estudar fora e a gente dá apoio para quem está se candidatando para a universidade no exterior. Então, temos aí uma série de ferramentas, talvez alguns de vocês já conheçam, e eu vou passar um pouco por elas conforme a gente for batendo esse papo aqui hoje. Mas o papo, em geral, vai ser em inglês, mas fiquem à vontade para mandar dúvidas no chat em português. Eu traduzo para o Nathan, ou a Maria Luiza também pode responder em português. O mais importante podem ir mandando as dúvidas no chat. No final, a gente vai ter um momento para responder essas dúvidas e elas não serão perdidas. Eu puxo elas aqui do começo, então podem ir mandando as dúvidas sem problema nenhum. So now we can start in English. Nathan, Maria Luiza, thank you very much for your time today. We will be talking about how to study in the UK, and of course we'll bring some information about scholarships and some tips on how to apply, and of course we'll talk a lot about LSE, one of the best universities in the world. So Nathan, thank you. Maria Luiza is a student there. Nathan is the recruitment manager, but I'm gonna let them present themselves. So feel free, Nathan, if you want to start.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. As Beatrice mentioned, my name is Nathan, and I am a student recruitment officer at the London School of Economics. And I look after our work in Brazil. So it's really nice to be here. I've got a little bit of flu at the moment. So if you hear me coughing, I'm so sorry. If I collapse, call an ambulance. But yeah, it's very nice to be here. So I'll hand over to Maria.
Hi, I don't know. Should I? It just sounds weird to talk to Brazilian people in English, but okay, it's fine. I'm Maria. I'm from Brazil. I'm from Brasilia. I'm 25 years old. I'm here in LSE doing a master's in behavioral sciences, even though I have an economics background in UNB, University of Brasilia. I came here to study mainly data and human behavior. And I think I'm gonna develop better why I am here while we're talking in this live. Yeah.
Good, thank you. Nathan, I think we can start talking a little bit more about LSE if you want. So if you want, I know you have something to share. If you want
Absolutely.
to share the
Let
screen.
me pull my screen.
Just só para todo mundo saber, a gente então começa falando um pouquinho sobre a LSE, a gente vai falar um pouco sobre custo de vida, bolsas. Maria Luiza vai contar um pouco da experiência dela escolhendo a universidade no UK, algumas dicas da vivência dela lá, vai contar algumas boas histórias que ela viveu. E aí a gente começa então com Nathan and LSE. Please, Nathan, feel free. I'm gonna bring the screen here. Yes, here we are.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, obviously, we're going to talk tonight a little bit about the UK in general. But of course, working at LSE, having studied at LSE, like Maria, we're going to talk about London a little bit. You don't win any prizes for guessing that London School of Economics is in London. LSE is one of around about 40 different universities based in London. So if you're thinking about studying in the UK and particularly studying in London, the really difficult thing can actually be finding the right university for you. Because like I say, LSE is just one of 40 different universities in London. But London is an amazing city to be a student in. So this year, London has been ranked, I think, for the 7th year in a row, the 6th or 7th year in a row by QS as the best student city in the world, i.e., QS have voted that London is the best city in the world to be a student in. So LSE is one of those, right? And we'll talk a little bit about what makes LSE special. But this is just to say that choosing to study in the UK, and particularly in London, is a fantastic place to be, right? And you can go to Big Ben and Parliament and the British Museum and all of these things, as well as be this amazing student city. Now, the London School of Economics is a very unique university. And the reason I say that is because LSE is the only university in the UK where we are dedicated to the social sciences. So at LSE, there are no medics, there are no biologists, chemists, physicists. Everyone at LSE is kind of interested in the same things. Basically, how does the world work? Whether that be in politics, whether that be in international relations, in behavioural science, as we might hear from Maria, right? Everyone at LSE is united by an interest in how the world works. And crucially, I mean, LSE's mission is to use the knowledge of how society works to make it better. And to demonstrate some of the things that we do at LSE, some of the things you might like to study, I like to share some examples of some recent research by LSE academics. Now, I always like to say that LSE academics are at the very, very top of their game. They are the experts of the experts. We have people, world-leading experts at LSE, working on issues, as an example, of economic climate change. So how does the world and different countries' economies transition to a green economy, and what does that look like for people's jobs and people's prospects, right? But we also have people at LSE working on issues related to social media, and particularly issues of social media in regards to big world of events, right? So I would really recommend, if you have the chance to look at Peter Pomeranstev, who you can see on screen, fantastic journalist and academic, who wrote this fantastic book all about social media and how it impacted on Brexit, how it impacted the election of Trump. And a lot of these issues we can see playing out today in the Middle East, as an example. So that's just to give you a sense, and you might want to look on screen and go away and do some more research. But this is to show you that LSE is a university very much focused on the real world, on the most pressing contemporary issues facing our society. What's also really important to say is we are quite a small university, so we only have about 12,000 students in total. So if you're on the call today and you're interested in a master's degree or a PhD degree, well, actually, we have more master's and PhD students at LSE than we have undergraduate bachelor's students. So we're a small university, and we're also slightly older than most universities because of our focus. Now, I mentioned that we are a dedicated social science university. So on screen, I wanted to share what that means, what you can actually study at LSE. So of course, you can come to LSE to study things like economics and finance and accounting, things you might already associate with us, but also things like human geography, things like philosophy, social policy. And for master's students, we have even more specialised departments looking at things like gender, health policy, international development. And the final thing I want to say just before we wrap up is, although LSE is a small university, we are one of the most international and diverse universities in the world. So in total, in total, 70% of our students are people like you. Okay? And by that, I mean 70% of our students come from outside of the UK. So there are more students from around the world at LSE than there are like me being from Manchester. And when you visit our campus, you'll see this amazing piece of art you can see on your screen, which is right in the middle of campus. And we call this the world turned upside down, because this piece of art is meant to celebrate what an international and diverse community we are, but it is also asking questions about the way we look at the world. And we're so used to seeing a map of the world with Europe at the centre, or with the United States at the centre, or with the UK at the centre. This piece of art is really asking, what does the world look like from a different point of view, from a different perspective? So When I say that we're an international university, it's not just about having people at LSE from all around the world. We want people like you with your own ideas, your own perspectives, your own voice, to bring those ideas with you to LSE and really contribute to a global conversation. Okay, that's my very quick introduction. Beatrice, I'll hand back over to you.
Thank you, Nathan. And I would like just to mention that I was on LSE on last May, I guess, and I had the chance to see this globe, and it's really provoking. I mean, Nathan showed me the globe, and I mean, it's right in the middle of the street, and it's huge, as you guys can see. So you cannot pass by this and don't ask questions about it for yourself. It's really provoking to have this in the middle of the street. It's really nice, and I guess it shows exactly what you were mentioning, like what you guys are looking for in the students and what you guys are proposing to students in your classes and stuff. So it's really nice to have this actually showing the mission. Yeah, I guess I can remove this and stay like this. Yes, good. Thank you, Nathan, for that. Maria Luiza, I guess for you, we can start like by understanding why did you pick UK?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's a very interesting question. I would say that first, I was in the UK when I was 15, and I fell in love with the city. And then I really wanted to come back to UK. So I think that my dream started when I was 15, and it was not related with LAC at first. So yeah, but my main goals, like I really wanted to go to a country that the native language was English, because first, the only second language that I have besides Portuguese, and second, it's because when you are living the English, it's very different than when you have classes in your home country. It's very different to speak English like 24/7. So to have this experience is very important, especially if you want to follow an international career, international path. I do think that everybody that is here in this live have the interest to pursue this type of career. So it's very important for you to be comfortable in the language, and not to be shy and take risks, and just go for it and speak in English with people. And this experience you only get if you go to a native country, like if you go to a country that speaks English, right? Um, Certainly, the costs are a problem. London is very expensive, so it's a very expensive dream, I would say. I have family help to be here, but I also want to tell people that London is feasible. If you compare with the United States, in the United States, for instance, United States, it's very, very expensive. It's more expensive than UK. So yeah, I think that UK is definitely an option, and Europe in general is more an option than the United States if you are very concerned about costs. Yeah, I do think that that's what informed my decision to come here to the UK, I would say. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Maria Luisa. I think you gave a good perspective, and this will help Nathan build his case on the advantage on doing a course in the UK instead of other countries around the world. So please, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you. And now I know Maria is the real expert here, right? Because I know that Maria and other people on the call will have spent a long time doing research and figuring out what's going to be the best, decision for them. But I found that speaking to people, it's been useful just to mention a few things, right, about the UK system and about why you might like to consider the UK. So the first thing is, Maria said, the UK is one of the top destinations in the world for study. Really, maybe number 2. We don't need to mention number 1 being the US. But, there are 4 of the top 10 universities in the world are in the UK. I won't tell you if LSE is one of those, but the UK is really home to some amazing universities. And actually, the system we have in the UK is very different to most other countries. In the UK, when you come to as a student, really, it is not you just coming, and sitting and listening to a professor. Coming as a student to the UK is about you. And is about your ideas and your research and your interests, right? And that's what we really mean when I say on screen, learn by doing. In the UK system, you spend a lot of time doing your own research, developing your own ideas. And so you are developing skills, right, that are useful for further study, but also for all kinds of jobs and things like that. More broadly speaking, the UK is a hugely diverse country. You can walk down any street and hear a different language on every corner, right? And see different types of people and different accents. We're also a relatively safe country. Again, compared to other countries, the UK is a pretty safe place to be. You can get to Europe as well very, very easily. So even after Brexit, not my fault, sorry, you can still take a train to Paris, you can take a train to Brussels. So again, coming to study in the UK is not just that, you're in the UK, but you can visit Scotland, you can visit Wales. I think Maria said you're going to Ireland next week.
I'm going to Dublin. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing of living here, because back in Brazil, I don't think we have this this habit of going inside the country like as often as the European/British people, European people go. Because here, everybody, like, if you have a friend here in the UK, this person is like traveling around at least 3 times, 4 times in the semester. Like they just, I'm just spending the weekend in Paris, right? because I can. It's like a 3 hours train. So, or a 2 hours train is very, very close by. So that's very interesting, because you can be in touch with a lot of cultures and do a lot of travels and trips. And it's not very costly, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I just 2 weeks ago, I did a week and I went all across Germany into Austria and then to Poland. And you can do that all in like a few. Anyway, it's really good to travel. If you like travel, and maybe if you've never been to the UK or Europe, you're going to want to try and get some of this stuff in for while you're there. Final thing I'll just mention on this kind of study UK stuff, and then I'll hand back to you, Beatrice, is the final point you can see on the screen, which is in the UK, we have a post-study work visa. Now, what this means is that if you go to university in the UK, that can be bachelor's, that can be master's, that can be PhD. After you finish your degree, you can stay for at least 2 years. So you can stay in the UK for at least 2. You don't have to, we don't force you, but if you want to stay, you can. And that is not tied to employment. Okay, so in other places, when you graduate, you have to find a job, within 50 days, or, bye, see you later, go home, right? In the UK, it's 2 years that you can do with what you want. So obviously, most people want to go and do internships, find jobs, whatever, but that is not tied to that. So that's another reason you might want to think about it. If you wanted to stay and build a career afterwards, build experience, you absolutely can. But just there's more I could say here, but I think why don't we carry on the conversation, and I'm sure there's other stuff we can talk about later on.
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, go for it.
Okay. No, I was just gonna tell, like, because Nathan, you said something that's very interesting about UK, and I would say very interesting about LAC. I don't know if we are talking about LAC right now, right? So I can just it's because about the
Right.
work I'm doing and specialization theme. That's the main point I was going to talk about here today, because that's why I chose LAC. I don't know. I don't think in Brazil we have like the range of topics to study as we do here in England. For instance, LAC, they have like a department for people who wants to study gender. Like it's a gender department, which is so cool. So the masters are very like narrowed down. So if you want to study a specific topic, probably LAC has one specific program for you, which makes the study journey way more motivating and I don't know, nice, right? Because then you can actually choose a topic that it's related to you. So one of the things that made me choose LAC is because it's very multidisciplinary. So back in Brazil, the master's program in economics, which is my background, which is what I studied in my bachelor's, when you do like the unpack test, which is the test that you have to take for doing a master's, it's only for economics. So we don't have this broad perspective of fields of study. And here in England, you have it like very, it's very grounded, like it's very what you guys want, to give a multidisciplinary point of view. And the learning by doing is something that I'm very fond of in LAC, because what we study is very contextualized for the word problems that we are facing. It's very contextualized for a science projection. So we're going to read a lot of scientific papers and we're going to manage data. So I think that's very, very important. And in some parts of Brazil, we still don't have this very well developed, unfortunately. And it's just amazing how LAC is very tuned with the labor market. What I mean is it's very how can I explain this? They're very, very worried with us getting a job. I mean, they're very worried about that. We have like so many career fairs. We have like so many workshops related to LinkedIn, related to cover letter, related to CV. Like it's like so much guidance that sometimes you just get tired of it. I mean, I'm not doing this workshop LinkedIn. Stop reminding me about this cover letter workshop. I'm not going to this career fair. So they're very, very worried with you understanding what you can do afterwards. And this is, for a Brazilian student, this is very innovative. I think we lack this in Brazil too. So yeah, if you're very worried about what I'm getting a master's, but what I'm gonna do with it, like why should I? So LSE is very, very interested and wants to show you, oh, you're gonna do a master's, you can do that. You have this employee, this company. So this is very nice too.
Great. Thank you, Maria Luiza. I think it's really important to bring this because as I mentioned, we have a preparatory course for masters and PhDs. It's free of charge. And this is a question that I receive a lot, like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do a master's abroad because I don't want to be a researcher. I don't want to be a professor. And there is a difference in the perspective of what a master's is in Brazil and abroad, and in England even more. That Brazilians lack to understand how it a master could be so labor market targeted
Yes.
other than just academics. So it's really nice to that you highlighted that as well. Thank you. Nathan, I guess we are gonna answer some of the questions right now because many people are talking about the application process in the questions.
Yeah.
And Nathan will bring now some informations about admissions and applications to LSE. And then we go to scholarships and tips for financial aid as well. So for the ones that are asking about how much does it cost, I'm sure Nathan will answer these questions soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm actually really glad that Maria brought up the specialisation there, because it is a really unique feature of the UK system. And actually, it's not just that you're kind of very focused on a certain area. It also means the degrees tend to be a bit shorter as well in the UK. So perhaps one of the things we should have said right at the start is that to do a master's in the UK is normally just 1 year. So it's a shorter amount of time. To do a bachelor's is only 3 years. So thank you, Maria, for jogging my memory that we should have mentioned that. Now, what I will just say is, as Maria mentioned, is there is so much choice if you want to apply, for a master's. Even if you just look at LSE, right? If you just look at LSE, we have 220 different programs in total. So 220 different things you could apply for. What I would really recommend is, if you're interested in LSE or any UK university, go on their website and really do your research. On our website, you'll find something at the top like this, which is, searching the programs. And you can see, right? So in the box on the left-hand side, I just searched the word development. So if you're sat there and you're interested in international development, okay, I just searched for the word development, and there are possibly 95 different courses at LSE that you could apply for, right? So it speaks to Maria's point about how focused the courses are, but also the need for you to do a lot of research, right? I think this presentation is very much just an introduction, right, to all of these kind of information. Very, very quickly on applications, what I will just say to start with is that the UK system can be a little bit different to other countries, in that if you're in the call and you're interested in undergraduate study, so if you want to do a bachelor's degree, in the UK, we have one system that all UK universities use called UCAS, okay? But for everyone else, master's, PhD, forget about UCAS, you apply just to LSE, okay? Or you apply just to the university you want to apply to. Because I think we're focusing mainly on masters and PhD tonight, I'm going to skip through some of this and focus on masters, but please do let us know in the chat if you have questions about undergraduate. The LSE online application system is now open if you wanted to start studying, and the way it always works is you apply the year before you want to start. So our year in the UK always starts in September. So university starts in September. So you can apply up to 1 year in advance of that. You'll need to place quite a few things in the application. And I'm not going to go through all of this again because we have limited time, but I will share at the end some links that you can scan and take away if you do want to learn more about this. What's really important is that LSE is known as a highly selective university. And that means that it's not just about having good grades, it's about a few more things than that. But generally speaking, we are going to be asking for good grades. So you need to have finished your bachelor's or be very close to finishing your bachelor's when you apply for a master's. Again, there's a lot of information on screen, but I will touch upon the last 2 points, which is that if you want to apply for certain courses, normally in things like economics, finance, management, it's very likely you might have to take a kind of standard graduate school test. So at LSE, the two that we normally accept are the GRE test and the GMAT test. And so it's really important, again, to do your research to check does the course I want to apply for, require GRE or GMAT? A course as well, as Maria mentioned, you're going to be speaking in English in class, and you're going to be speaking to your professors, probably in English. So we also are going to need some proof of your English language ability. So that could be IELTS, that could be TOEFL, that could be Cambridge. We're not Pearson at the moment, but there's a few others. The really important thing to say is that you don't need to have an English language test ready when you apply. You can get the English language test later, so it's always best to put your application in, and then if you need to get an English test, you can do it later on. Final thing I will just mention is that when it comes to applications, it isn't just about the grades, and this is true for everyone, for undergraduate and masters. LSE actually has more applicants per place than the University of Oxford, and we have more applicants per place than the University of Cambridge, okay? And so we can't let everyone in who has really good grades because we'd be teaching, you know, outside, on the corridor, in the bathroom, like we don't have the space. So when we look at applications, we are looking for students, yes, with strong grades, who are clearly right, they're going to turn up to class and they're smart people. But it's also about the three things you can see on screen. We are looking for enthusiastic people who really enjoy and are passionate about their subject, people like Maria, but also people, as you can see, I hope I've not been in one of your classes.
But
I think the final thing is probably the most important. I hope Maria agrees with me, is that going to an LSE class is a debate. It's a discussion, right?
Yeah.
We want students at LSE who come to class and they say to the professor, look, I think you're wrong. And here's the reason I think you're wrong. And who can say to their classmates, you know, I disagree with you, you know? And so in the application, it's not just about having good grades, right? And having, you know, good references. We want to see what kind of student you're going to be. And so in the application, we really want you to get across some of your own ideas, some of your own opinions, to show us that when you turn up to class, you know, you are, or you can be that person who says to the professor, yeah, you're wrong, I'm right, and here's the reason why. Anyway, a little bit, there's so much we could say on this. I think I have actually, I'll put this on screen now and I can bring it back up later. There's so much to talk about when it comes to applications, when it comes to admissions. What I would really recommend is if you've got a phone to hand or anything to scan this, this will take you to a page we've set up for students from Brazil to give you advice on the application. And there's also some information on funding and things there. So this is very much a quick introduction. But if you are interested in LSE, scan this. I'll share this again later so we have it. But and I'm happy to, of course, answer questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk about English just for a little bit. As Nathan mentioned, you need like a high grade in exams to prove that you have English skills. I know I'm gonna give an advice here. When you come here and you have classes in another language, you have to learn again how you're gonna get through. It's very, very different when the class is held in another language. So you have to understand how you're gonna process the information. Taking notes become different. Paying attention become different. So there is an adaptation, right? A time of adaptation for each student that can be very scary and very, very weird time. I went through it. First, I couldn't understand how I was going to take notes at the same time I was paying attention, because my brain couldn't do both tasks at the same time as I was very used to back in Brazil. I could listen and write at the same time, and for me, it's not the case anymore now that the classes are in English. So I would say that it's very, very important if you can invest in your English and start to study English for at least 1 year before coming is very important, so you can get a good grade and be comfortable in the language, because I promise you will be tiring. I am tired. Now it's become better, but I'm here like for 4 months. But some days were very tough. Like I was having headaches, and my head was in Portuguese, but I was speaking in English. Sometimes I was not even like in the mood for socializing because it was so much like to think about it. So the language, it's a matter. So pay attention with it. Like, prepare yourself. It's very important.
Yeah, definitely. On the other hand, I mean, I don't think it doesn't matter how much you get prepared for it, it's gonna be an adjustment anyways.
Yeah, you have a
So,
point.
I mean, you can take a year to study, you can take 10 years to study. You will just, I mean, if you're not living there, you will always have to adjust, and it's gonna take some time to adjust. So, I don't think you guys need to feel like, because the what Maria Luiza said, it's something that I think we need to pay attention to, is that you don't need to feel that you can speak as a British person. You
Yeah,
don't need to
of
think
course
that.
not. Yeah.
You don't need to feel that. You will go with your scores. You have to take this score in the test. And once you get this score, this means that you are ready to go. So you go and you will adjust there. I mean, uh, don't think that you will be able to become a British person even if you live there for 30 years.
Yeah,
It's not the same. So it's gonna be an adjustment anyways. It's gonna be tough anyways. It's gonna be hard. Living abroad is in the same level amazing and challenging. So,
yeah, of course, yeah.
but it's in
Pay
the
off.
same level. So really enjoy the amazing
Fine.
part.
It'll be fine. But yeah, the language can be like, for me, was a little bit hard in the beginning.
Yeah, no,
And
yeah, it's gonna be hard.
and I will say, trust me, even if you come to the UK and can only say hello and goodbye, that is better than my Portuguese. So you are in a better place than I
Yeah.
am. But yeah.
So Nathan, now we'll answer another bunch of questions about fees and scholarships. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
you have some information about scholarships here,
yeah.
but
I'll just put this up to start with. Thank you for sharing this, just to show that, as Maria said, studying in the UK as an international student can be expensive. So if we look at master's degrees at LSE, it's anywhere between £16,000, so about 20,000 US dollars, right? Up to £40,000, and maybe 47, 48, 50,000 US. So it is expensive to do. On top of that, you have to think about your living costs. And as Maria already mentioned, London can be an expensive city, but none of this is to put you off, because there is lots of support there to help students. As I was saying before, because LSE has, go back a sec, one of the highest percentages of international students in the world, we tend to have more money available to help international students. So a couple of things to have a look at. The first thing, of course, is to have a look at external providers when you are looking to fund your studies overseas. So, of course, we're here tonight. This is a great example of someone that you can look into for scholarships and guidance. Another really big one for the UK is Chevening. If you're not familiar with Chevening is a full scholarship for master's students to come to the UK. This is paid for by the British government. It's available to lots of different countries all around the world. So anyway, depending on your nationality, depending on your background, you might be eligible for Chevening, which basically cover all of your costs. Aside from that, there is also a number of scholarships and bursaries we make available at LSE for our students. And the big two that I'll flag is our undergraduate support scheme and our graduate support scheme. And now I'll be completely honest and say, look, the funding we have in the UK is not as good as the US, right? Generally speaking, you are not going to get a 100% scholarship. It's very rare in the UK. We have a couple of LSE, but a couple. What's more likely is you'll get a top up on what you need. So you can see, for example, on screen, the graduate support scheme gives out between £5,000 and £15,000 a year. So it's not going to cover everything, but it's a big contribution. And it can be combined with other sources, right? Most scholarships and bursaries at LSE are purely based on need. So you come to us, and if you're accepted to LSE, great, fantastic, you are good enough for us. So we don't really have sports scholarships. We don't really have scholarships for being a nice person, right? We think if you're good enough to get in, then you're good enough. We want you to come. And if you then tell us in the graduate scholarship application that you need the extra help, that's where we hope then to be able to step in. What I will just say very quickly, and I'm sure there might be more questions about this, I would recommend if you, because again, there's so much research involved, if you Google Study UK Scholarship Finder, there is a website which is run by the British Council, so part of the UK government, and they list on their website pretty much every scholarship available in the UK. So make a note of that if you've got a pen. It's the Study UK Scholarship Finder, because you will find all of LSE's scholarships on there, as well as the external people like Chevening, and yeah, for all universities in the UK. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, guys, I sent. I'm gonna change to Portuguese, I guess. Eu enviei o link do programa de bolsas de líderes Estudar aqui, para o Nathan falou, da Fundação Estudar. A gente tem 2 programas de bolsa, o Líderes Estudar e o Tech Fellow. Ambos cobrem até 95% do que vocês podem precisar para estudar fora, então é uma ajuda bem grande, apesar de não ser 100%. O link está aí no chat. Se vocês tiverem interesse também em alguma dúvida sobre a bolsa, fiquem à vontade. Continuem mandando dúvidas, a gente já vai abrir para dúvidas. I'm gonna come back to Maria Luiza just to finish our questions, and then we will answer some questions from the audience. Maria Luiza, please, could you tell us, and I know we have some questions here about your routine as well, so we will answer this, about your routine, like how many hours you have to study every day and stuff like that. And I take this moment to let people know that we have a video from Maria Luiza in our YouTube channel. She recorded a video from her routine on LSE, so you guys can see everything there. She recorded everything. It's a really nice and informative video on the routine of a student at LSE. But Maria Luiza, if you can share with us, how is it to be a master's student?
Okay. First, I don't have classes every day. LIC creates this timetable in which I have classes twice a week. So I spend my whole day mainly twice a week, like in the school. So it's Tuesdays and Thursdays for this term. I don't know how it's going to be the next term, but they really manage for you to like all your activities be concentrated in 2 days in the week. So 2 days of the week are going to be, I am actually the whole day on the uni. It's not necessarily like you can go home by 4:30 in the afternoon. That's when seminars are over in my program. But I'll stay in and then I just keep studying there. Yeah. So they really think about, because some people live far away and they cannot just go to the school like every day to have classes every day. even though we have end up going to the school every day. If you are a person that cannot stay in to study, that's my case. Sometimes I just go to university to be productive. Here in this term, something very, very, very interesting happened, because I don't have classes on Monday. So I have one class on Friday, and then I have Saturday, on Sunday, and Monday to organize my routine, which is so nice. To not to have Mondays to just settle down for the week. So I have a 4 days week. I don't know if it's gonna keep this way. I think it will, but I'm not sure. Regarding study time, right? So if you apply to LAC, you're applying to a social science school. So you are going to be studying, your chances are very high of studying statistics and studying data. And this can be very challenging for everybody, right? So it's going to take time, and the master's is on you. Classes are not enough. You have to go to classes, and you have to work yourself at home. And the statistics disciplines, they're going to demand of you, right? So I would say that I study at least 2 hours a day, including weekends, because we have to do scientific reading too. So read papers for the discussion classes. And at the same time, we have to learn how to code. So it's a lot of work. And it can be challenging for you to work at the same time you are studying, but it's not impossible. You just have to manage your time very well, be a very organized person, and especially find a job that can be very flexible with your timetable. Inside LAC, we have some jobs for students, so it's very nice. So we can work for the university, and they are very they're very aware that we are students and we need a flexible job. So yeah, I'm a content creator for LAC, for instance, and I earn money within the university while I'm there. So I just produce content for them, and at the same time I'm studying. So it's very, very convenient. But they have a lot of other opportunities. I do think that if you can earn money running researches, for example, we have the Change Makers project. You earn money for running a research inside LAC. And another things too, I think you can earn money inside of the university by telling your opinion about the university, by giving feedback about your course, by giving feedback about the university as a whole, the spaces, how is your experience inside of the university. So you have options there to earn some money while you are studying, right? But it's not impossible. I have some friends that actually work. They at the same time they are part-time student, but you have to be very organized, I would say, and manage your psychological health, because it's a lot of work.
Thanks, Maria Luiza. And you already answered one of the last questions we received, so thank you for that. We're gonna start to answer the questions from the audience now. We have many here, so let's see how many we can answer in the time we have. I can start with Ayodele. Has a question, Nathan, for you. After the selective process, the application as a whole, do you guys have an interview in your application process or not?
No. is the
Good.
simple answer. So if you undergraduate, no. Masters, no. If you want to do a PhD, probably yes, but generally no interviews.
Perfect. Nathan, one more for you. Vitor is developing his personal statement. What makes a personal statement stand out?
Really good question, Victorin. I normally do presentations on this one question that lasts an hour. So I'm going to try and get it down to 90 seconds, okay? And the most important thing I can stress is that the document you write to apply to the UK is very, very different to what they want in other countries, okay? What I mean by that is if you apply, let's say, to a university in the US, right? They want to know all about, how much you love basketball and, what your favorite day of the week is and what your cat's name is. And I'm not saying we don't care about those things, but we really don't care. What we care about in the UK system, which is quite different to other application systems, is the application is academic, okay? So even if you have got lots and lots of work experience and 1 million gold medals in sports, okay, the focus is on the academics, okay? So as a minimum, at least 80% of your personal statement, of your supporting statement, okay, needs to be focused on your academics. So if you're like Maria and want to come and do behavioural science at LSE, what about behavioural science really interests you? What essays have you done in the past? What research have you done in the past? What kind of person are you? So the really simple answer is make sure the statement is very, very closely focused on the course you are applying to, and that you really get across, as I said before, your own voice and your own ideas. So don't just say, I've done this and I've read this and I've blah, blah, blah. Say, look, I read this and here's what I think about it, or here's this opinion that I've developed on this topic, etc. Okay, I think that was about 90 seconds.
I have an advice. When I was writing my personal statement, cover letter, right? I actually spend a lot of time reading about LSE and reading their website. So like the LSE students, they have a profile. You have to understand this profile and you have to realize if this is your student profile, I would say. One thing that I did recently is just to see ChatGPT's opinion about LSE and how the ChatGPT would describe an LSE student. And it's okay. Like its opinion is very interesting, but I think it's kind of related to the reality. So you can just do this and try to understand the profile and try to understand what the university wants. It's trying to capture from you. What is your profile? What is your interests? And what's your dream career? It's a very like a self-development journey, I would say. Like to write a cover letter is to understand you at the end and what you want and how this university can teach you or help you to pursue your career, your self-development, professionally speaking.
Thanks, Maria. I left some behind because we already answered them, but this is one that I think it's good. And he asked about psychological support department for students at LSE.
I'm answer this, and then Maria, you're probably one of the best people to answer Henrik's question. What I will say very, very quickly, the first thing is to say that I think one of the best things about the UK university system is the level of support you receive. I think one of the things we do very well in UK universities is support, whether that's academic, psychological, even personal, financial. We care about our students, and although you'll spend a lot of time working independently, as we talked about, right, doing research, doing whatever, there's all kinds of support services there. For sure, psychological support, mental health support, well-being, that kind of stuff. But Maria, I might just ask you what your kind of experience has been.
I do think that we have therapy funded by LSE. I think we have like 1 or 2 sessions. I don't know. I don't know if it's per month I don't use it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't have this information, but I do think that we have it here in LSE. You have to just look for it, right? And LSE is very, very concerned about how we are feeling inside the university. So they're doing a lot of feedback survey and trying to capture our well-being while being a student in LSE. So you have people to talk to, and they have a lot of institutional help, like you can, for students. So you always have a number to call, someone to talk. It's part of the university protocol. So I do think that they really do have a good system for this. I just don't use it very often, but yeah.
Okay,
And
good.
I might add one final thing just really quickly onto that, to Maria's answer. Really importantly as well, you're not going to be the first person to have done it. So as you can see, LSE has real life Brazilians already here in our university. Every year we take about 65 students from Brazil. So if it's, yes, a new country, a new language, a new kind of way of life, there are people around you in exactly the same situation. And LSE has its own Brazilian society. We have a Latin American society. And so there are these networks there. But sorry, Beatrice, I'll shut up now.
Yeah.
No. Go for it. I just sent. I'm gonna change to Portuguese just a little bit. Eu acabei de mandar um link, gente, com a avaliação do evento. Peço que quem puder responda. É um bit.ly curtinho aí, são 2 perguntas, vai realmente levar 40 segundos, 32 segundos. Para a gente poder, os próximos eventos que a gente for fazer, ficarem ainda melhores para vocês. Então, por favor, quem puder responder, eu agradeço muito. Next question from Maria Luiza. I don't know how to say this in English, but it's your xará. How do you say this in English? Has the same name.
Não faço ideia. Eu não faço ideia. Just telling you, that because we have the same name, and in Portuguese we would say that she's my xará. But I don't know if there is a similar word for that in English, though. It's just, I don't know.
Like two people have the same name.
Like, we're connected somehow, because we have the same name. But I think it's a Brazilian thing.
Whatever.
But yeah, I can see the question. So yes, I saw someone else ask about references. Yes, so if you're applying for a bachelor's degree, you need 1 reference, and that will come from a teacher or someone at your school or college. If you're applying for a master's or PhD, you need 2 references, okay? And again, going back to what I said before about the application, because we're a very academic focused application system, it is best if those references come from people who have taught you, okay? So professors at your university, teachers at your university, those kind of people, right? However, if you can't get 2 academic references, or I saw someone else ask, I've got actually 1 really good professional one from my job that's relevant, you can use those as well, all right? But the best position to be in is to send us 2 academic references. That's for master's level, would be 2 academic, but you can swap them for professional. Oh, Beatrice, I think you're
mute. Yeah.
Am I? Can you hear me now? Okay, good. So I'm gonna do 2 other questions because I think they are really important, and then we finish. One of them is about age. The age of a person can be a barrier in the process of application for graduate or undergraduate.
No. In the first instance, that's illegal in the UK. We can't discriminate based on age. And 2, let me tell you, people come particularly to masters and PhD at all different stages of their life. You do get people who come straight from a bachelor's degree. I worked for a few years and then did my master's. I know people who finished working and have retired who are just doing it for fun. So no, LSE, I will say, tends to be a slightly older university because we have more masters and PhD students. So I would say maybe the average age might be, mid-20s, but people come to this 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and onwards.
Great, thanks. And the last question we will be able to answer, gente, vai ser a última que a gente vai conseguir por falta de tempo. Mas, Maria Luiza, se você quiser deixar seu Instagram ou algum contato aí que o pessoal possa te mandar mensagem, talvez.
Meu contato é Malu Economista. É bem simples, é bem facinho. Lá no Instagram, só mandar mensagem que eu respondo as dúvidas também. Eu tô falando. Eu acho que a gente vai, Nathan, I'm just telling people that we are trying to see if I can keep creating content about, like, for Brazilian people regarding this. I have a list of questions that my followers already talk to me about that and what they want to know. And we're trying to provide you guys with short videos on answering those questions. So if you have more questions, maybe send to me, then we can develop this project.
Absolutely, and just to say that we are really keen to support more students from Brazil to come to the UK, to come to LSE, because we know lots of Brazilians go to the US or they go around South America or elsewhere, and it's not so common. So what I'd recommend, if you're able to share my screen again, I've also got the QR code link. What you can do is also send us some questions on there. So there's if you visit our Brazil page, there's lots more information. There's a way you can send us questions as well if you have follow-ups for LSE. And as long as Maria isn't too busy with her masters, we will definitely see about getting some more content out for everyone to take a look at.
Great. So thank you. Do you guys want to leave a last message for the students?
Just to say thank you, and I hope no one could hear me coughing too much. I tried to mute, and thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll see all of you at LSE in 6 months' time or 12 months' time or whatever it is.
Obrigada, gente. Foi prazer a presença de vocês e, enfim, espero que a gente possa conversar em breve.
Obrigada, pessoal, por estarem aqui. De novo, se puderem responder a nossa pesquisa de satisfação, é super importante para a gente. O vídeo da Maria Luiza está disponível aí na descrição desse evento no YouTube. Vocês conseguem ver toda a rotina dela na LSE. Nathan, Maria Luiza, thank you very much for your time. I'm sure they enjoyed hearing about LSE and London as well, so thank you very much. I'm sure we'll be able to do many more events like that.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.